One of the common profit killers for firms that are using hourly billing is, like I say, underreporting of billable hours. Now, this may seem like a trivial thing, but time after time when I'm working with law firms that are using hourly billing, we inevitably find that there are people that are underbilling their hours. And the way we usually find that out is we start doing an assessment to say, okay, all right, what is the average billable hours by person? When we start looking at them, we're like, what is their target? And what we often find is that most firms will have people who are below their target, like they're not hitting the target number of billable hours that you expected them to hit when you hired them, or you expected them to hit when you started doing your planning, which means the firm isn't making as much money. Like, in fact, the 2022 Clio study that they did on, several thousand law firms, when they looked at it, one of the things that they said is that the average firm is seeing that associates are only billing about 2.5 hours a day, meaning that there's about what 5.5 hours of unbilled time every single day, to where it's like, what is happening with the rest of those hours? Well, after doing a deep dive with a few clients, some of the things that we found, or let's say one of the very big areas that we found, is that people were underreporting hours. And it was a couple of reasons why they were underreporting hours. One is they thought that it should not take as long as it was taking them to do the work. Another thing was they didn't want to look inexperienced when they were reporting their hours. They felt like, hey, the more experienced people are able to do this faster. And for some reason, they just didn't have a good frame of reference on how long it should take to do this type of task. And so one of the things that we did after we analyzed the data with a couple firms is we said, hey, probably what you should do to address this problem is we should create some type of onboarding or some type of training to give your new people and even your existing people some guidance on, like, hey, if you are doing this type of task, it usually takes between 30 45 minutes to an hour. In fact, here's a specific example. We were working with a firm once, and we were looking at their data and analyzing it. And one of the things that we saw is there were two employees that were completing some drafting tasks within like 20 minutes. And then when we looked at the average that everyone else in the firm was taking about an hour to do the same type of drafting. So I said, hey, we need to understand, like, why is this group able to do it in 20 minutes and this group is able to do it, it takes them an hour? And when we started to dig, what we realized is that the people who were only reporting 20 minutes were actually underbilling their time, because they thought that they were taking too long to do it, because it was actually taking them an hour, maybe 45 minutes to do it. And they thought that was too long. So they were discounting their time when they reported it in the system. And when we did the math, this came out to about $8,000 of missed revenue that this firm was not getting. So, I mean, if you do the math on that, I mean, that's over what, almost $96,000 a year of revenue that this firm was not getting, because these new people that they had on their team didn't have any context or guidance. So what we did is we created a process that, all right, when the person starts, you need to talk them through, like, hey, these are the tasks that you are going to do. Here's an average of how long these type of tasks take. Now, when they started implementing that, one of the things that they started to see is that the firm's revenue started to increase. And the thing is, they didn't, have a drastic increase in the number of cases. They just had better processes and more accurate time reporting, because they set the standard and they let people on the team know, hey, it usually takes about an hour to an hour and a half to do this type of task. If that's how long it's taking you, that's what we need to report in the system. And when you start looking at things like this is where you can drive more profitability, higher efficiency, better performance in your financial side of your business by giving your team some guidance that they were probably making some wrong assumptions on.